the big
right.
thing here is like,
I changed my first slide so it follows Derek's.
okay. I was making a couple changes on here. I think the key thing is like this slide here. I think we have to talk about. We have to focus on the dual light piece of this. Like I'm talking about, like the entire conversation needs to be about.
Okay. Why we felt there was a need in the market for this.
Right, but I mean, I think that's the differentiator between these products, and when you put all
not with the pivot has dual light. I mean, that was not out yet, so I'm still going to compare it to the Survivor X. But I mean, the dual light is for the most part negated, but it's still our baby. So I'm still going to talk about why it's necessary and why it's beneficial.
Well, I think the Survivor X is the number one selling product.
Correct.
Just because they came up with a pivot doesn't mean it's going to be a replacement. Their Survivor X is still, from a price perspective, going to be the leader. So they're still going to be pushing the Survivor X. The Survivor X is going to be their horse. The thing is, they needed to respond with the pivot. So, if anything, it should be...
That's a compliment to what we've been doing.
Yeah, so it's a compliment to what we've been doing, but the Intront... The big thing between the Intront and the Intront Duo, and I think this is the piece that they need to make sure that you're talking about, one is a fixed head, one is a rotating head. Right? Their Survivor X is a fixed head. Their pivot is a rotating head, right? So their pivot is going against our Intron, and then we created a Duo to go against their Survivor
X,
right? So it kind of like,
our Duo kills their pivot.
Yeah, so
Survivor X.
we started with the dual light, they're ending with the dual light, right? And so the idea here is that we saw a need in the market, dual light. Now, why dual light? What does a dual light do? And this is the key from the selling perspective. So there's product training, but there's also kind of the sales training piece of it. So the product training is lumens, specs, all that kind of stuff. The sales training is, how do I apply these specs and features in real life, right? How do I apply it in the sales against the product? So, Intront, Survivor, and you look at it and you go, okay, let's look at the size, let's look at application. This product, here's the challenge with this product. This product here is fixed, doesn't have any movement to it. It's clunky. There's no innovation in the market. They've made some evolutions to the Survivor. They've now gotten to the Survivor X. But bottom line is, this product has been an issue, and it's been the only thing in the market, and it dominates the market. All right. So you have a lot of people that have the old Survivor, then they have the low profile Survivor. Now they have this Survivor X.
I don't know the low profile Survivor. But...
Well, their old Survivor had this big old bezel.
Oh, that, yeah.
Right. So then they went to that lower profile, and the reason they went with the lower profile was to try to address the fact that it was so top heavy, right? And so, but then they found it out that they didn't secure the bezel properly, and then the light would crack and the lens would crack, right? And then they tried to innovate with this smoke cutter beam and
all their marketing now says unbreakable lens.
Yeah.
For damage control.
Yeah, that basically means it's breakable, right? So what was happening is you go out in the field and you see people take hose clamps, like those stretchy hose. They would put that around the bezel to hold the thing together because the thing would crack.
Oh my goodness.
Right? So you have price-sensitive customer who has a lack of innovation. There's one product dominating the market. It's the industry standard. Here we come in with an Intron. Now, when we came in with the Intron, now all of a sudden, why? What's the purpose of putting light towards your feet? Right? Slips, trips, falls, the ability to not have to, change your position. Firefighters are no longer fighting fires as much as they're answering accident scenes. And in those accident scenes and other things like that, you want to be able to have a conversation with someone without, blinding them with 200 lumens of high focused candela light. You want to be able to see what's going on, but this big intense beam in one direction you're not cutting smoke 99% of the time. What you're doing is you're like, I need light. Well, that's what the floodlight's for. And when people see it and they look at it and they go, dude, I use the downlight more than I use the main beam. Now all of a sudden you're changing the paradigm. You're like, I don't need this super bright beam. It was actually kind of an issue. You know, day to day it was kind of an issue. Because it just blinded people.
Right. It's very task specific.
Yeah, and they're like, I don't really need that. I need it for a fire, but day to day I don't need it. Really what I need is that downward light.
So then you need more lights, or you just put it on the same light.
Right. So what we did is we added it and we placed it directly where they need. Now you have the focused beam of this really intense spot, and now you have a light that lights up your feet. Now you think about it. You're wearing a mask. You're wearing all this gear. These are the things you need to convey to the sales guys. Put yourself in the situation. You got all of this equipment. All of this equipment is heavy. I got a mask on. I got all of this stuff. I'm clunking stuff around. I don't need 2 different lights. I need the light in the direction of where I need it most. And so that's where I would focus the conversation.
Okay.
It's purpose-driven light that addresses the need that was going unanswered in the market. Now, then you lead it to say, just recently, Streamlighted FDIC announces they have this pivot, okay? And they announced that this pivot product is out. It's been in development. This is really their answer for our Intron. What they didn't expect is that we launched the Duo, right? And when we launched the Duo is a lower cost option with a high candela, turbo candela. And so in your presentation here, your bullet points, these bullet points need to kind of summarize, you know.
That was supposed to be like the benefits for firefighters, and at the bottom is why our customers and dealers should care. So it's kind of what the product is, but talk about the benefits instead of just like, 205 lumens and feels good in the hand and stuff like that.
Yeah, so like here, so these are features then?
Benefits, features, yeah, that's kind of like just about the product, so they kind of know what the Intron is, and then it's like, why does any of that matter? Like, dual light is great, but why should someone care about dual light? Slips, trips, and falls.
Yeah, so like here, I would say features.
Okay.
First, dual light, angle light in the market.
Okay, I was just trying to keep under 5 words.
Yep.
That's
Well,
fine.
first, that's fine. So that's innovation.
And you can also put notes on the bottom if you don't want it on the
Yeah, it's slim design, lightweight, dual fuel ready. And then you'll have the product there, so you can, you know, it's got a clip that attaches to the turnout gear or their SCBA.
Yeah. I'm going to have all the helmets and competitor products charged up and ready.
Yeah, I think the thing is like, so you're talking about the battery model, and then you're talking about the rechargeable model, right?
And
then,
I mean, the rechargeable model isn't, I mean, I'm not going to talk about much more. Because, I mean, this is the same features for rechargeable are pretty much there for Intron, besides battery.
so let me ask you, at any point are you using the Survivor X, or are you only doing the pivot?
So the Survivor X will go against Duo. The Duo should be yellow if you scroll down.
All right, so this one here is pivot versus our Intron.
Correct.
Here is pivot
Versus rechargeable.
versus rechargeable.
There's
and then-
Survivor X. And then I'll also bring a regular Survivor in there.
Gotcha.
I'm going to bring more products necessary. Like, we don't, you know, like the lantern, the clutch is in here. So I'll talk about it, and like the handle comes apart, but I'll also bring a Vulcan 180 in the room. Bijan asked me not to use those slides.
Which slides?
Those are a couple that are grayed out. The non-IS Fortune Fordham.
Okay, that's fine.
At first he was like, just put it on the same page. And I was like, that's not going to work.
All right.
So I'm just going to...
Yeah.
So the main part about this one is the versatility, right? The 360-degree pivot.
Mm-hmm. So then here,
It's IS.
yeah, and then say like rear body switch, and then you would say green follow me light.
Well, I was trying not to put everything so I could talk about it, but okay.
All right, so, well,
Can you put it on the notes underneath, or do you think that's important to put on the screen?
I think the thing is that if you were to print this presentation and give it to them, like there's a lot of stuff you're talking about, right?
That's gonna be in the notes with digital for them, but okay.
I mean,
we'll just make it simple for them.
Yeah. I think
That's fine.
the big thing is yeah. It has to be, there's the product specs and features and all that kind of stuff, but then it's why does that stuff matter in the application, right? So their Vantage is a fixed product, okay? It is one directional. It's and it's set it and forget it, and that's it. You turn your head, that's where the light goes. Okay. Now all of a sudden you don't want to blind somebody, right? So what option do you have? Look up, look down. Well, you don't want to look up or look down. I mean, not putting the light where it needs to be, revolutionary concept in this industry. I mean, think about it. I mean, and you cannot. It is absolutely ridiculous. But that's you gotta point that out. This is industry changing technology that is shifting the paradigm that they now have to respond to. So what they've done is they've taken their Vantage, they've made a smaller Vantage of it because their original Vantage isn't getting the lumens that they want, right? So they created the smaller one with the higher lumens.
It's cheaper.
And it's cheaper. And it's a price sensitive market, right? So that's
it kind of ratchets. Doesn't move, but it ratchets. So I'll
right.
mention that.
Yeah. So I mean, those are things that I mean, you're
the sales advantage as well, not just the product.
This is as much of so Kevin did a product presentation where he went out and said this is our product, and he started going through specs because that's what Kevin does, specs. But then he completely fell short on the application and the real life. You're going to see this because this is the dominant product in the market. How do we not only are we better, but how do you sell against it? How do you take their limitations and sell against it? Their limitations are higher price. Their limitations are fixed directional lighting. Their limitations are, all the things. So there's the if they're just coming in to learn about our product, I could mail them the product and they can read the box. Where Kevin didn't do the training, and that's I think the expectation is how the practical applications for them to sell against. You're the industry expert of the fire division. How do you then apply that in real life? And so I think you're going to talk about to those things, but I think it's the the why do you care kind of thing. That conversation needs to be more of an application and how do you sell against these, right? That's the big thing, and I think you have that stuff there. I think you just need to expand upon it a little bit. Now you can talk to it, sure, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong doing that, but after everything's done, some people look at the screen and go, it's not on the screen. That's going to be if they ask for that, then you're going to have to revise it. At this point, it's a little too late to...
Well, that would be an okay problem.
Yeah. And just say, I kind of kept the slides straightforward so we can talk about it more. Right? And I think that's...
We've all seen slides that just have tons of stuff. And
yeah, so
just what is... Yeah.
So, this is going to be a little overwhelming. So, this is the thing. I would have a laser pointer. Have the laser pointer in your hand. And I would say, look at the difference in lumens, right? This is over double the lumens, right? Don't be afraid to go. Just do a little math calculation. Go 7,000 to 10,000. That's a 30% increase, right? Over 30% brighter. It's kind of
I have that on some of the why they should care.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but yeah, that's good.
So I mean, even it could be like plus 30%, plus 25%. 2 times what. Those are the things that people are like. That's what they want to hear, right? See, we're dust-proof, waterproof. They just do the waterproof stuff, and then you can talk through this stuff. I mean, I think people get it. It's going to be pretty clear.
12:45.
Here, see, 30% more runtime. That's perfect.
I'm just giving you the info.
But see, this is the big thing here. Like they don't care about ATEX in this division. They don't care about ATEX Zone 0. They just class 1 Division 1.
Okay.
But
all right. Right.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm like trying to talk about the product a little bit, so I'm not just like.
So
this is why
did they have you go against? So you're going against the clutch here.
But I'm also going to bring in the Vulcan 180. The clutch is very new, so I think the Vulcan 180 will be what they see on the market right now.
Yeah. So
but that was what me and Brian both thought we should go against.
The challenge is the Vulcan clutch is not Class 1 Division 2.
It's Division 1.
The clutch is not rated at all. The clutch is basically like a product that Joe Bob off the street could buy. They're not going to use that in fire. They're not going to use the clutch in fire. They're going to use the Vulcan 180. That's what they've been buying.
But a lot of people use Streamline just in FPA products.
Well,
Don't they?
I'm just saying, this one in particular, you're going to want to go against the Vulcan 180.
Well, I'll have that in the meeting, so I can talk about it.
Do you have a comparison chart against the 180?
I don't think so. Maybe. Would that make sense to switch?
If you have it, I'd switch it. The clutch is not rated at all. And the clutch is a lower price point because it's not rated. And it's not being advertised as a fire product as much as it's being advertised as a kind of an everyday man's. And the thing is we have a certified Class 1 Division 2 product versus their Class 1 Division 2 product.
Okay.
So I would
I'm trying to avoid having to make another comparison chart, but I agree that would be better.
Yeah, well, I think the expectation in the room, because that's what they've been talking about. Introducing the clutches against this product, I think it's gonna raise red flags because these guys have not seen anything regarding the clutch. I'd keep this slide, but if you can put a slide ahead of it and just say, hey, now I wanted to make you guys aware that there's a product called the clutch. It's not certified, but you can see from a price point, you already have it done. You can leave it in there. But if you can put one ahead of it against the Class 1 Division 2, I'd do that. I'm not trying to burst your bubble, but I think that's a...
You're fine.
Okay. I see what you did here. I would really hit the angle. And these guys, like I said, some of these guys on that team... Are you recording?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to get the transcript of it.
Okay. So the big thing is some of these guys have never sold fire before. Like, literally have never talked to a firefighter.
Dumb it down.
Yeah. So approach it from when you say SCBA, what does that mean? They don't know. They literally have no clue. So it has to be like, yeah. And these guys will start talking, and they'll kind of mention things. I got to jump in this meeting, but the big thing is make sure that they're